Imagine waking up one morning to discover everything you've ever known, gone. Your job, terminated. Your bank account, drained. Your reputation shattered. Your so-called friends, vanished like vapor. And at that moment, naked, unprotected, bereft of safety, one haunting question rings in your mind. What did I build that was truly mine? You struggle through recollections. You had plans. You had promise. You spoke about dreams. You waited for the right time. But now, time has become your worst adversary. Here's the reality no one dares to tell you. If you don't create your empire today, you are constructing someone else's. And the more you wait, the stronger their castle becomes, and the less your determination to begin. This is not a motivating speech, it's a psychiatric intervention. Because the empire you dream of isn't a daydream, it's a calling. And the more you ignore it, the louder the regret will get. So I ask you, are you ready to wake up, or will you wait till life gives your eviction notice from your own destiny? Let's begin. Human beings are wired to desire control over time, resources, choices, and surroundings. From childhood, we aspire for freedom. Mine becomes our favorite word. That urge for ownership never disappears. But society tells us to surrender ownership for security, a salary over equity, a task above a vision, comfort over conquering. We are trained to rent our lives rather than own our empires. Psychologically, this is termed learned helplessness, a situation when individuals quit trying because they think they have no control. But that belief? It's a lie. A weapon used to tame lions and transform them into domestic cats. You were created to rule, not to surrender. You were wired for production, not consumption. So why haven't you developed your empire? Because empires demand suffering. They demand choices. They insist that you own everything. Your successes, your defeats, your discipline, your tardiness. But as you begin to construct, you open a portion of your mind that's been dormant. A sovereign mindset, one that refuses to beg, settle, or follow someone else's vision over your own. All greatness originates in the unseen. The subconscious mind is your empire's basis. Everything you do, every hesitation, every danger you avoid, every possibility you ignore, it's all founded in mental conditioning. And most people, they're operating on default mode. They inherit views, values, anxieties, and identities from other individuals. From parents, from instructors, from failing systems. But empires are not inherited, they are engineered. And engineering starts with destroying limiting ideas. Start asking, who told me I can't win? Who persuaded me that playing small is safer? Whose voice am I truly hearing when I question myself? Once you isolate those voices, you do what every empire builder must. You quiet them, permanently. Through repetition, visualization, and planning, you begin to rewire your mind to anticipate winning. This is called neuroplasticity, your brain's capacity to adapt itself. And once it does, the world follows. There is a psychological bias known as temporal discounting. We prefer instant pleasure above long-term benefit. That's why people prefer Netflix over beginning a company, comfort food above health, distraction over discipline. The biggest deception time tells you is, you have more of me than you think. But tomorrow is not certain. Time is the one commodity you can't get back, and every second you waste, someone else is creating. Someone else is planning. Someone else is establishing the empire you might have controlled. Here's the truth. If you don't fight your vision today, you'll be compelled to defend mediocrity later. Success loves hurry. It feeds on now. And if you ever feel uninspired, don't question, what do I feel like doing? Ask, what would the emperor version of me do right now? Then do that. Your kingdom is not simply developed through action, it's built through identity. If you still consider yourself as a dreamer, a wannabe, or a maybe someday person, you've already lost. The most significant psychological alteration comes when you change the words, I want to I am. Not, I want to be successful. But, I am a builder of legacy. Not, I hope I can do this. But, I am the architect of my destiny. Identity influences conduct. And when your behaviors coincide with a compelling identity, Your empire expands quicker than your doubts. Want proof? Look at every great leader in history. They acted from identity, not insecurity. They strode like monarchs, talked like visionaries, and thought like conquerors before the crown ever touched their head. Your crown? It's already in your head. Wear it. Fear is not your enemy, it's your map. It reveals you where your kingdom waits. The things you dread the most, judgment, failure, exposure, those are gateways. And behind each one is a version of you with more power than you've ever dreamed. Psychologically, fear stimulates the amygdala, the survival center of the brain. But terror doesn't recognize the difference between public speaking and fatal peril. It only understands suffering. And if you're not experiencing it, you're not developing. Use fear. Don't run from it. Study it. Face it. What am I truly afraid will happen? What's the worst case scenario, and can I recover from it? What will it cost me if I do nothing? The biggest fear should not be failure. It should be being average, being forgettable, being someone who has the empire within them but never developed it. Every empire has foes. Some wear armor. Others wear phony grins. Psychology calls this social contagion, the premise that ideas, feelings, and attitudes are infectious. Hang with cowards, you develop fear. Spend time with builders, and suddenly your vision increases. Audit your circle. Who challenges you? Who supports your future level, not your present one? Who perceives your empire as a threat? Not everyone can go with you. The throne has limited seats. And if you maintain toxic individuals in your empire, they'll burn it from inside. Build a circle of soldiers, of creators, of empire-minded persons. Because one strong discussion may uncover what a decade of playing small never will. An empire is not created on drive alone. Motivation diminishes. Systems last. You need psychological rituals, daily routines that separate emotion from decision-making. Builders don't wait to feel like constructing. They build via systems. Whether it's getting up early, writing, organizing the day, hitting the toughest work first, routines safeguard your power. The brain needs predictability. And if you train it to work toward your empire every day, even in modest ways, you develop unstoppable momentum. Don't pursue dopamine. Chase legacy. Create behaviors that create kingdoms. There is a voice in your brain that whispers, "You're not ready. You don't know enough. Who do you think you are?" This voice is the inner saboteur, a survival strategy aimed to keep you safe. But in contemporary life, safety is the adversary of grandeur. Psychology teaches us the ego dread death, and growing an empire entails murdering the lesser version of oneself. That's why it fights change. That's why it self-sabotages. But you don't quiet the saboteur by battling it. You quiet it by proving it false. Every move you take toward your empire reduces the voice of doubt and amplifies the voice of destiny. You must select which voice becomes your truth. Here's where it gets deeper. Your empire isn't just about money, power, or legacy. It's about influence. Someone is waiting for you to rise. Someone is watching you quietly, wanting to see someone like them win. Your boldness gives them license. Your empire offers people hope. And when you recognize that developing your empire is an act of service, not simply self-expression, you get a fire that doesn't burn out. This is larger than you. It always has been. The empire awaits. You have precisely what it takes. Not later. Not someday. No. The throne is vacant. The land is yours. But you must battle for it. You must bleed for it. You must build for it. Not with bricks, but with choices. Not with luck, but with psychological warfare against every excuse, every delay, every moment of weakness that attempts to stop you. Because fate doesn't wait. Empires don't build themselves. And time isn't faithful to the reluctant. So I'll ask one last question. Will you die a worker? Or will you live like a ruler? The option is yours. Build your empire. Now.